Cloaked in the shadows.
Okay, Amanda.
Okay.
What are we doing today?
We're back with part 2.
Yeah, what podcast is it?
It's Cloaked in the Shadows.
What is Cloaked in the Shadow?
It's paranormal and strange and anything goes kind of podcast as long as it's legal.
And it's a downright weird.
Yeah.
And you love the downright weird. Now, today, people are wondering, we have got part 2, haven't we, from last week? Our interview with the fantastic Matt Tankersley. Now, if you check out part 1, go to the podcast, because we've covered a variety of topics there, didn't we, Matt, in part 1? And we've had space to split it into two like we did recently, cover length. This is just an interesting podcast. And part 1, if you want to backtrack on it, we talked about jinns, Matt's introduction to interesting paranormal. What else did we talk about in part 1 that you asked him about?
Reincarnation.
An incarnation, yeah. Now, part 2, which we'll kick straight in a minute, because I actually asked Matt to tell us about his interest, first of all, in quantum physics. Then, Amanda, what happened after that?
I asked him a question about something I can't remember.
Remote viewing.
Yeah, that was it.
And then that led on to the last section, Astral Projection. Okay? We're always looking for other guests, guys, so get in touch and give us a shout on the podcast. But otherwise, enjoy the show.
Enjoy, everyone.
See you later.
Cloaked in the shadows.
I'd love to. In 2004, a movie was released called What the Bleep Do We Know? And it was part theatrical trailer and part documentary. They really brought those two disciplines together in a nice way with a cute film, and it sort of follows a person through daily life. And then as they're going through it, there's cutaways to interviewees of quantum physicists, of particle scientists, and leaders in the spiritual realm. And there's a doctor that was all about emotion and what is the cells doing in the body when we're having extreme emotion. So in 2004, that got me thinking about quantum physics and how quantum physics reinforces spirituality. So there's a notion of like for example, understanding these principles of quantum physics makes it easier to comprehend things like fourth dimensional entities, like or negative entities like jinns, because take looking at a double rainbow, for example. We've all seen a rainbow, and we can comprehend how the light's coming from the sun. It just rained, and all the little leftover drizzles are refracting the light, and we can see the light refracted. Oh, it refracts into these 7 colors. We can see them, but there's a reflection of that refraction when we have a double rainbow. So when you will see on a double rainbow, the outer rainbow is a reflection of the inner one. And if you pick your 2 rainbow colors and draw a midpoint between the 2 rainbows, that is actually the reflection, the line of reflection. You can draw that to a center of the rainbow, where the rainbow might be 180-degree arch. You can find the center of that, and that from the midpoint to the center point is your full spectrum of light. So when we can only see violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red, that's like 3%. That's only 3% of all the light. So our eyes, you might think you can see, our eyes can only see 3% of the light that is being emitted from the sun, from our solar system, from the Milky Way galaxy. So there's 97% that our eyes aren't going to, perceive. But we know it exists because bees like clovers, and clovers emit and reflect ultraviolet light, which the ultraviolet our eyes can't see, but we know a bee can see it. And We know bats echolocate with each other, but we can't hear them squeaking. We can't hear a bat. I can't hear a bat squeak, but I know they're squeaking because, you know, he's catching flies and stuff, and he doesn't have eyes. So we know that we can prove there's things outside of our perception that are totally real, totally exist, and actually being lighthearted and a little bit playful about it is probably the best thing to do when we're presented with new information. And if we weren't being presented with new information, then we wouldn't be learning anything, would we? So it's good to just keep the mind fresh. Even if at first you think somebody's full of crap, take that crap and know it's there, because someday there might be more crap. I mean, hey, that crap, it looked like that, and I thought it was crap at first, but now there's more to it. So some of the folks that I thought were full of it, maybe they were looking at it from their perspective and describing it the best they could. Someone else's perspective might be similar. It'll never be exact, but then I think that's making new ground in the mind and new connections and nerves that fire together or wire together, and maybe break some old habits and stuff with new information. Knowledge is power, but putting knowledge to use, that's the power that's the powerful thing to do with the knowledge, instead of just sitting on it, is change behavior a little bit. And I think that with the reinforcement factor of quantum physics and spirituality, it will really help a lot of people, especially the younger folks in our countries in the West. I really worry about them, because you've got to have some kind of faith in the world. So for me, that comes from interacting with nature, and also delving into these quantum physics things to keep my mind sharp, to keep me entertained a little bit. And that's probably the quantum physics stuff. It's in nature, it's everywhere. It's beautiful.
Pretty great stuff there indeed. No, I've really enjoyed that. Okay, last topic today is with Amanda.
Yeah. So in your profile, one of your interests is listed as remote viewing. Can you explain to listeners what that is and share any experiences or insights into it?
Yes, Amanda. Yeah, remote viewing. So this came up because I would be doing. I found a local group for group meditations, and it was like beginner group meditation, and they met at a tree at a park, and we would go to that tree at that park at 10 a.m. and we would usually meet there, and maybe a minute or two late, but make a circle and meditate there. So I was doing this quite a lot, and one of the things one of the little box cars on my train of thought that comes back around every once in a while when I'm sitting there, like, being mindful. And here comes the box car again. What are you doing this shit for? What are you doing this for? Like, why aren't you out trying to make money? Like, this is that box car keeps coming around. What are we doing this for? So I want to get some gains, right? I want to get some feedback after a while, right? Like, I'll have faith. Faith will take me faith will take me out. But there needs to be a goal for me to, like, keep me interested. There needs to be something I can get out of it. So remote viewing came up as one of these things. Like, well, hey, maybe I'll find out more about remote viewing and collective consciousness, collective subconsciousness. That's very interesting. That was sort of like those kinds of notions that maybe everybody and one continent is thinking generally the same thing. Some big event happened. Everybody's got the same reaction. Like 95% of the people feel exactly the same about a specific situation. They may not present it or say it face to face, but at the subconscious level, it's being emitted. Right. So this is sort of like an emission, a group emission that I don't think violates anyone's personal free will to be tapping into that and feel that vibe. Where this is a free will universe, and uh, basically it's poor form to go snooping around in someone else's business or um, that sort of thing. It's poor form, right? It's unsportsmanlike. So remote viewing, I started getting into it. I started like seeing if I could do it and trying to get some feedback too that I was doing it. Um, uh, and I guess one of the first times that I sort of confirmed that um, was again. It was actually on Coast to Coast AM. I couldn't sleep one night. I was up late, and I'd heard about the remote viewing and sort of done it as sort of astral projection. Astral projection is more of my whole energetic body leaving and doing something, uh, and being
I do.
conscious of it.
I'm really interested in astral projection. I must admit, to be honest with yourself, yeah. So, did your interest in astral projection come around about the same time? Did it then? As your interest in remote viewing?
Well, the actually it was later. I did the
Oh,
astral projection earlier, but I was also kind of like trying to solve big mysteries, like why doesn't the moon spin? And when I did astral projection into the moon base, the first time they kind of like didn't f with me, and I gave myself a self-guided tour, and I was like, I have hours of recollection from that experience, and I've done some art off of it. But the second time that I astral projected to the moon base. I got caught. I got like pulled over before I could get in there, and I got like a stern talking to by like the Men in Black, and I was sort of like upset because I had escaped the Matrix. And there's like two portals to go through to get out to where I could go over to the moon base. And they saw me coming, and I was like, "No, I'm out of your matrix. You have no authority. You can't stop me. I'm an energetic being." And they were like, "Well, actually, we got to tell you some more about that." And anyway, that was the end of that specific experience with astral projection. And I thought that was strange. I chalked it up as a fail, but I shit you not, Andy. Like 3 weeks later, I wasn't like trying to do any remote viewing or anything. I'm just like getting some sleep, and pops into my dream space. I kind of get yanked into this other dream space where it's complete darkness. That same MFer is there. And this was like a Men in Black kind of being, and we're just floating in space, and they just drop like three scrolls in my lap. And so I'm like, okay. So I pull these scrolls out, and I'm like reading these scrolls, and they weren't all in English. Like they did not look that English to me, but I could tell it was important. So I was reading all the words and everything. I was noticing the handwriting. They were all handwritten, these scrolls. And so I would go through like and read these three scrolls, and some of them they were almost all in black. Sometimes there was red writing, and sometimes there were passages with like signatures under it. So another 2 weeks go by, and I have another dream of this entity again giving me these scrolls and I just dropping them. And I'm like, here you go. And I'm like, I just read through them. And there was another dream not long after that where the same thing happened. So there were at least three specific dreams that I recall where that was the Men in Black kind of saying like, these are like the passages, like soul agreements and stuff from when you incarnated that, are sort of like their legal terms of, term like contracts. And so remote, like, so I basically, there's a lot of freedom there, but things like, obviously not human bases on other planets, they really don't like when you just waltz up in there. So, because that's my whole energy body doing an astral projection, that's when remote viewing is a bit more helpful because it's a lot faster. You can do it and be out, and that's mostly just looking, not having a full-on experience, just putting that third eye off somewhere else specific, and then only for a moment, and it's back. So there isn't really a whole lot of what they, that might, there's not a whole lot of back and forth. I don't even think I like to go through any kind of portals or anything. I think it just
I was
goes.
wondering that. Have you gone for any sort of portals, whether in dream state or something? Amanda, what do you think about that? Is it there's different levels of consciousness really, isn't it?
You have experience, but there's a lot out there that people don't understand.
Yeah, it's fascinating topic, isn't it? Yeah.
As part of the BST system, the Beast system, the blank slate. So that sort of energetic web around our planet, that's, you have to get out of that, and that's where a portal has to go through. Otherwise, we'll keep bumping our heads on the ceiling. I was having this experience trying to do astral projection, and maybe there's other people other people have described techniques that I'm like, that seems to work. I can tell that you're having an experience, but I just can't work it like that. So, there are, if the energetic body can go through these specific geo sites, and according to where you are on the planet, there's probably one or two that would be easier to get to, but the one on the other side is the sun, or it's right next to the sun. And it's the gravitational center of our solar system. So the sun is usually in the middle, but it gets pulled around by the gravity of all the planets. And then the sun's gravity holds our planets to it. But there's a push and a pull. And the magnetic field of the sun, it sort of gets spun up every 9 years, and then it unspins, and then it gets all wanky, and 2 years later it resells out, and then it's another 9 years. So the center of the solar system is the portal, but you got to find it first, and it's mostly
usual case. Yeah, portals are jigsaw pieces.
It's usually in the sun. Yeah, it might be right next to the sun, or under it, or over it, but that's the gravitational center of our solar system. You get out of the Earth gravity, and then you're out of the sun gravity, and then go wherever you want. Go wherever you were just thinking about, and if you get lost, you can own your way home.
That sounds a great way to wrap up there, definitely, mate. Talking about become all one thing, I think home now, definitely. Now, obviously, Matt, you've talked a lot of information today, so it's been fascinating stuff indeed. If people want to find out more about you, where do you recommend they go?
Yeah, I have a link tree. And my link tree is on all my videos on the MJ Tank channel. And I don't know if the videos are what you'd be interested in most, but I mentioned a few pieces of art. And like, if you want to see the djinn that was attacking me that night in my at that house I was renting, that was like haunted, that picture is up on my fineartamerica.com gallery. And that's linked on my link tree, and also moringa trees. I'm selling moringa trees, so there's live trees, not just link trees, in my online presence. And there's a link to my eBay store on my link tree. It's linktr.ee/mjtank108.
Brilliant stuff, mate. Thank you for today, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure. Really
yeah, Amanda, I really liked your questions, and Andy, it was fun chatting with you, and I hope that was helpful, and I'd love to do it again sometime.
Definitely. So, mate, hang around, because we do need to talk to you off camera anyway. So, but thank you again, Matt. It's been a pleasure today, mate.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Amanda. Okay, guys and girls, this is Cloaked in the Shadows. Amanda, where's the shadows?
Walking into the shadow.
See you all soon.
Cloaked in the shadows.